Flashback.
So there's the concept of the Antirock. It's installed. Install was actually super simple. What's gonna take some time is getting this adjusted. The rear is done. Now you have to stay tuned. We got some really cool stuff coming for the front. It is going to include an Antirock, but there's way more than that.
A few moments later.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Ken, thanks for having me.
About time. About time you're here
2
twice.
weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time we were working on this jail, we did some cool stuff.
We did an Antirock in the rear.
In the rear.
Yeah.
Now,
We're gonna do a front one.
it's going to be like
Front
deja
one.
vu, except
Yeah.
the Jeep's going to be backwards.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a front Antirock. As with a lot of things, that there's been a theme running here. Aluminum arms. We got a really cool bar. We went with I think like the 3rd tier overland style bar because we have the added weight of the Hemi. We got the tent, the big tires, heavy axles, all the stuff. So because of all that stuff, we went with I hate to admit it, but it's called the overlanding bar, I believe.
Ken, how do you feel about overlanding, though? Seriously.
Are we making tacos? We can go to the mall and go overlanding as long as you're making tacos.
Fun fact. The day I bought my jail, that's exactly what we did, remember?
You got more bushing, more parts, more aluminum, more aluminum, a bar. I continually to tweak, tune, and modify my suspension to get more and more usable wheel travel. You know, you watch some of those RTI competitions
The
and
ramps and stuff.
these guys like got their whole axle sideways. That's not usable traction. It's worthless. It's stupid. It's cool to put on a show. It's cool for a competition if it's what you're into. But there's such a thing as a usable traction and non-usable. So I've tweaked and messed with my suspension constantly so much that my tires are now hitting everything in the front.
What are they hitting?
The bumper and the skid plate. And they're hitting everything where the factory
I have a question.
disconnect is.
Is this going to help with hitting your bumper?
Nope. When I take my bumper and I modify everything in the front, which y'all gonna see something here in a second, when I take off the skid plate,
Yeah.
all of my
Problems go.
Rubicon sway bar is in the way.
Ah,
It's
okay.
very vulnerable.
Yep.
So I want to get rid of that vulnerability.
Yep.
We both know I don't like the Rubicon sway bar disconnect anyways. I just use the metal cloak disconnects that are on there. This will allow me to get rid of that motor.
Yep.
So I get rid of that vulnerability, and then I can cut all those frame horns off to get more clearance.
Yep.
But then the bumper's going to look weird.
So what are we going to do about that?
You have to follow me. Got new stuff. Let's go.
Field trip.
Everybody needs to stay tuned. We have more TJ stuff coming for Bob's Jeep soon. This is gonna fix my bumper and skid plate issues. Let's go open this thing up next door.
You put a garage door opener on your forklift.
Yeah, it's right here. The best part is, I love Mile Armor phone mounts.
Is that for the GPS?
For navigational issues. If you come over here really quick, when I am turning and flexing hard, I'm hitting all of this. And so based on our measurements, even if I take the skid plate off, I'm gonna hit all of this. So if I take the skid plate off, and then I cut all this off, everything for the Rubicon disconnect motor is gonna be very vulnerable. And I don't like it. So I called my friends over to Rusty's Off-Road. Now I will be very transparent and tell you that I did debate the Moto-Built Tomahawk frame chop front bumper. Super sweet. Love the approach. I love the design. I love everything about it. But there's a few things I really don't like at all. Not knocking the product. There's just a few things I didn't like. I considered the generated aluminum, but it bolts on, and it reminds me of an old school kind of cheap bumper, the way the bolts are all exposed. And I know that with aluminum, there's no great solution for that. So I don't know, I just aesthetically, it didn't please me. So I made a phone call and pulled some favors. What we have here is a 100% one-off custom bumper that you cannot buy from Rusty's Off-Road that they made just for me. And as you can currently tell, other than a couple text message pictures from Rusty himself, I've never seen this yet. I will also forewarn you, do not call them, do not email them, do not pester them to build you one of these. I've been waiting over a year for this. He will not be making another one of these. That being said, there is a chance someday this could become a production item, but I do know that they do not want to be bothered all the time with everybody asking for one of these. I bothered him enough for all of us. All right, we have pieces, parts. Looks like he might have redesigned his winch plate even. Maybe that's why this little pot looker took me so long to get. Doesn't strike.
It's a 3-piece design.
All right. So there's winch plate. He did send me hardware. When you're getting custom one-off stuff, you have no idea what you're gonna get. But Rusty always takes good care of me. So there is our custom one-off front bumper. That's pretty much almost identical to exactly what I asked him to build me. This is pretty awesome. So we were able to keep hooks. This is gonna tuck the whole front end up tight and tuck it in tight without actually cutting the frame off. We're gonna keep all of our strength and all of our rigidity. Since we're not cutting the frame off, we might lose just a touch of what we could have had with a different company, Moto Built, but I don't think I need it. Moto Built's sweet. I'm not knocking their stuff. Trust me, that bumper's pretty sweet. I heavily debate it. Bob can attest. I almost ordered it like 3 times. And then I was just through general conversation talking with Rusty about kind of what I wanted and stuff, and he was like, well, I'll make you one. And so here we are. But if you look at like where it mounts the frame in the back, there is no spare room. He tucked it as absolutely tight as possible. I can't wait to put this on just to see what it looks like. We're gonna test fit everything. We're gonna get the Antirock installed before we send this out to powder coat, because I might make a few modifications and I don't wanna be ruining powder coat if I gotta do any cutting, grinding, welding. I might build like some different brackets for some different reasons. We'll go over that when we get there. All right, so we got a couple things done here off camera. We got the winch mount plate and all that stuff swapped over to the new style. We got the winch remounted, and now we're gonna start putting together the Antirock assembly, and then we're gonna come over and we're gonna cut this off to give us a whole crap ton of clearance, and then make some decisions on what we wanna do to kind of clean that up. Again, we don't do how-tos, follow the directions. You can print them.
Ken, what'd you decide?
Well, we have a small problem.
It's an aesthetic problem?
It is. So when we put this bumper on, you can still see this whole bracket, except for this bracket doesn't do us anything anymore. So we're gonna kind of mutilate, cut this all up. We're gonna leave the stock bracket for all this wiring we're gonna get rid of. We're gonna leave the stock bracket for the Antirock so we can put that in. We're gonna cut all this all off. I'm gonna rebox it on the back side so you won't see it. And from the side of the vehicle, it'll look just nice and clean. You don't get to do that to me. Cut right next to the well, okay.
might have to love tap it into place. Oh, a little bit more.
Hey, it looks through there. I can't tell. So we got the brackets cut off the frame. That's looking way better. Rattle can, some paint on there. We got the mounts on, arms on. Now we're gonna set links, get those put on. Kind of ballpark-ish them for the moment. We're gonna lose daylight. Tomorrow we'll flex it all out and get everything all set as far as the length of the links. Bumper's gotta go to powder coat. So, like when I snap my finger, we're gonna come back and we're gonna put on a new bumper. Here we go. Our new bumper is back from powder coat. Super, super clean. So in the meantime, while we waited for powder coat, we were able to get all of our anti-rocks adjusted. We did go with the longer bars in the front, that little bar right there, the gold one. So we went with a longer bar in the front to get all of our geometry correct. The rear we didn't, but we got everything adjusted. We welded this all up. We basically just built caps and welded that and boxed it all in. Add some structural integrity to this location. So now we're gonna go ahead and get this bumper put back on and see what the final product looks like. So you can see why now we changed this bumper. We gained a whole lot of clearance. That skid plate used to come way down here. So we gained all of this, which for rock climbing isn't a concern. But these tires, when they were turned and flexed and stuff, they were hitting. So this gives us all the room in the world now. No more concerns. Anti-rocks front and rear. Front bumper, high tuck, lots of clearance. Cool upgrade. I'd like to thank Rusty's Off-Road for the bumper. I know you got to know to me constantly asking you for it, but you killed it. This thing's absolutely stellar. Like I said, I was debating a couple other brands, but kind of just keeps with everything being Rusty's, I suppose. Amazing quality, as always. Thanks for everything, Rusty. We will see you guys next week.